Alright, just the other day we dove into 10 video game announcements that we want to see happen in 2025. So today, we're talking about 10 game announcements and bits of gaming news that we don't want in 2025. We're talking bad news today. Some of this stuff could happen, some of this is a bit more of a reach, but basically these are just 10 things we don't want to see in 2025 in the world of gaming. Let's get started off with number 10. We do not want to see Grand Theft Auto 6 delayed again till 2026. I mean, this is like the biggest open question of 2025. Will GTA 6 actually come out this year? So what makes it so hard to say one way or the other is that we still know like next to nothing about this game. We've gotten that debut trailer, and that's really it. Rockstar has been extremely quiet about the game, so it's really hard to say just how far they've actually gotten with the project. Here's the thing though, GTA 6 has the potential to be one of the biggest games of all time when you just look at the numbers. And just the idea that it's coming out in 2025 has everybody else in the industry running scared. People like game development studios worry about when they're releasing their game because GTA 6 makes such a big splash on the release calendar. And Rockstar knows what they're doing. They've been working on this game for years at this point, and if they're going to announce something, then we expect them to be pretty confident about the year. We think Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive want the game to come out in 2025. I think all their planning is going into the game coming out 2025, but, you know, we're not really 100% sure if they'll actually pull it off. I mean, all we ever hear these days is about games getting delayed. Rockstar games are no stranger to getting delayed. And honestly, we prefer a game to get delayed over it getting released early as this broken, buggy mess. So I know we're contradicting ourselves a little bit. We don't want to see the game delayed, but we only say that because we've been waiting a long time for this one. It's been over 10 years since GTA 5. If there's one game coming that we all want now, not later, it's definitely this one. Next at number 9, we don't want even more of these live service games. You know, in 2024, it felt like we hit the saturation point on these style of games. There were so many high-profile failures, and the ones that were successes just kind of kept trucking on. But with those failures, man, so many great developers wasted their time on games that nobody actually really wanted. I mean, just look at Sony's whole live service push. There was what? One actually successful game to come out of that entire debacle with Helldivers 2? In 2025, it's time to stop. All the big developers need to stop chasing that dragon and just accept that the market is saturated and they can't brute force their way into it. We already have the live service games, the ones that carved it out, the ones that people are endlessly playing. They work, people dig them, there's no room for more. Games like Fortnite, Genshin Impact, League of Legends, Warframe, MMOs, whatever, there's a lot and they're not going anywhere. So to get into the live service market, they have to offer something that people actually want or take advantage of a weakness in the market, like how Marvel Rivals did. Overwatch 2 kind of disappointed a lot of people, so there was an opening for something new and similar to move in. And then Helldivers was also similar. It just offered something new that players really vibed with. It's not like live service games are all bad. Some people really enjoy some of them do things right. They have their place in this industry, I guess. It's just not that easy to get into anymore. And we're tired of reading about great developers spending years and resources and time on live service games only for them to just get canceled before they even have a chance to fail. Next, over at number 8, we're hoping that Fantastic doesn't release any more games. You know, these are the people behind The Day Before. You'd think that after the disastrous launch of that, the developers would tuck their tail between their legs and disappear, never to be heard from again. Or at the very least, maybe they try to change their name and rebrand and pretend to be something else. But they didn't even do that when they came crawling back to Kickstarter in the hopes of funding this generic-looking co-op escape game. On their new website, they claim to be Fantastic 2.0. A newer, better, and more honest game developer. Look, we're all for second chances, but it didn't seem to go so well. They managed to get all of $2,300 pledged for their $14,000 goal before canceling the project. Escape Factory wasn't accepting pledges for long, but Fantastic was still getting accusations of asset theft. Most people rightly assumed this whole thing was a scam. I mean, just asking for $14K to make a game seems pretty low, even for something as basic as that. The Kickstarter may be done, but the website is still up. It's kind of broken, but it's all essentially there, and they've still got at least one game on Steam. Look, it seems like these guys just refuse to give up. They still want to make games. The day before was beyond a failure. It was like this crazy disaster. So again, I'm still hoping maybe they learn, maybe they turn it around. But we just don't want any day before like disaster or anything from them this year, please. Or really from any studio, really. Next, over at number 7, we're coming up on the 10th anniversary, believe it or not, of one of the most celebrated games from the PS4 era, Bloodborne. It wasn't a first party, but it is published and owned by Sony, so it's mostly on them on how the 10th anniversary is handled. And people have been patiently waiting on something, anything on Bloodborne, and have been met with silence. And unfortunately, we're expecting that trend to continue into 2025. Yes, Sony will probably acknowledge the 10th anniversary. Maybe they'll put out, a social media post or a little bit of merch to celebrate. But the thing that people really want is something to coincide with the game's original release date of March 24th. And I think what we all really want more than anything is a full remaster, or even better, a sequel announcement. At the very least, they could finally release a PS5 upgrade patch to get the thing running at 60 FPS. That's not too much to ask, is it? Only if they could do it, why haven't they done it yet? At this point, I fully expect the anniversary to come and go with nothing really significant announced, which is how most anniversaries go in the game industry, unfortunately. Look, we see news like this all the time. So-and-so's game's anniversary, fans expect something big, and they're always disappointed. It's hard not to kind of get your hopes up when something like this happens. I mean, the first time Sony has acknowledged a game in years was recently, so that means something is cooking, right? Who knows? But I think forever we're just going to be talking about Bloodborne. Next, over at number 6, we don't want to see more major game titles skip Xbox. If you're playing on Xbox, you don't want to miss out on some games. Look, in the last few years, we got some pretty significant games that skipped over Xbox, like Black Myth Wukong. At first, they were cagey about why they were passing over Xbox, but recently the CEO blamed the extended delay on Xbox Series S requirements. That was the same problem Baldur's Gate 3 had when trying to get onto the Xbox platform, and it seems like it's becoming a bigger issue now that we're seeing games like Monster Hunter Wilds, which seem to be built specifically for the PS5 Pro. This is Capcom, though. They know how to optimize a game, but not every developer out there, I guess, has the know-how or the resources and time to do it. And in 2025, we're worried that more high-profile games may just end up skipping Xbox entirely because of that, or at least forcing them to delay their games, sometimes indefinitely. You'd think after a few recent high-profile issues with the Xbox game submission process, they would put some extra effort into making things go smoothly for all involved. Maybe they are behind the scenes, but it's disappointing to hear about games like Wukong, like people looking forward to Wukong, which by all rights should be on that platform. There's no Sony exclusivity deal or anything, but they aren't because of technical problems. I don't know how the whole story here goes, so who knows? Maybe Xbox is trying to work with Wukong guys and get them on here. It could be a lot of he said, she said stuff. We just hope that the Black Myth Wukong situation doesn't become a trend and more games end up the same way. Next up at number 5, look, we know the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming. Nintendo teased it, but we're hoping when it's fully revealed that it doesn't disappoint. There are high hopes for the Switch 2, and while we don't know a lot of official things, there have been some leaks about the potential hardware specs on the console, and from everything we've seen, it seems like it's going to be a fairly significant upgrade. I mean, it kind of has to be. The Switch is going to be an 8-year-old console soon, and that's a long time no matter how you shake it. The current Switch is really starting to show its age with a lot of games. Stuttering and inconsistent frames per second on indie games is a common problem. Hell, even major first-party games don't run as well as they probably should. So anyone that does a lot of gaming on Nintendo consoles has a lot of expectations about what this new system will do and what it should do. It's going to be better, without a doubt, but until we know what the actual specs are straight from Nintendo's mouth or press release and not from some leaker, nobody can be sure exactly how powerful the Switch 2 will actually be. There is some cause for concern that it'll be underpowered at launch, that the system specs we've seen online were wrong, or that they don't perform as well as people assume because of, anything. Form factor issues, cooling issues, whatever. This is all pure speculation, of course. We do expect the Switch 2 to be a major step up over the original console, but compared to something like the PS5, it could still be seen as behind the curve. And Nintendo, famously isn't always chasing graphics. They kind of just do their own thing. Either way, we just hope the thing is fully revealed and it has solid specs and a reasonable price point. Nintendo has been on a really good run with the Nintendo Switch, and we hope they don't bungle it. Next, over at number 4, we hope that Ubisoft stops making NFT games. Look, you guys should just stop. Did you know that Ubisoft's Quartz NFT shop is still online and that they launched not 1, but 2 NFT games quietly in 2024? Yeah, not 2021 or 2022, no, 2024. Far past like the main heat and hype behind NFTs. This trend is over for at least the mainstream public, but Ubisoft just can't take the hint here. They maybe just invested too much, they're in too deep. Ignoring everything else about these games, honestly, the worst thing is that they're just straight up bad. We checked out Champions Tactics, the first so far of 2 NFT games from them, and it was really lame. It's generic mobile game stuff. There was no strategy or real tactics involved, just a lot of waiting. It's like the worst possible version of Darkest Dungeons. Just the art style and like vaguely similar gameplay with none of the atmosphere, strategy, or depth. If this is the sort of thing they're going to try to make to sell us on NFTs, then no thanks. I think we're good. Hopefully they stop this year. Now at number 3, we hope it's not another year where we go without hearing any news about Marvel's Wolverine Insomniac game. Look, PlayStation in 2024 was a fairly light year, highlighted by a few solid third-party exclusives like Stellar Blade and stuff, a really great platformer with Astrobot, and a lot of remasters and stuff. And then there's Concord, of course. Now in 2025, we need more. Even if it's just announcements. PlayStation fans are just dying of thirst. They need games, or at the very least, a few significant trailers to keep them going. And a full Wolverine trailer would do just that. That's the kind of trailer PlayStation desperately needs. A game from one of their best first-party developers making games for the console's core audience who want visually impressive, cinematic, fun, single-player action games. Honestly, anything from Insomniac would do, like that long-rumored Venom game. That would be nice to see this year. Realistically, we expect that we're going to hear something about Wolverine this year. I think it'll happen, but it would be really disappointing if we don't. Now down at number 2, Xbox loosening up, Xbox going third party. This is the big one that everyone's speculating about. Look, if you follow the gaming news, it's the branding changes, the new marketing language, and how Xbox is everywhere. And that Phil Spencer interview about their strategy going forward on releasing Xbox games on Switch and PlayStation, it's got a whole lot of Xbox fans worried that in 2025, Xbox may discontinue hardware or deprioritize it and move forward as a primarily software-focused division. That would disappoint a lot of fans that are deep in the Xbox ecosystem. Look, do we think this is actually going to happen? No, not in 2025 at least. There are rumors about a potential Xbox handheld, and we just don't see them completely giving up on Xbox that quickly. Could it happen someday? It's possible. Maybe. Things are just too in flux right now. I still think Xbox is still considering exactly what move they want to do next. Look, if Xbox were to exit the hardware market in 2025, it'd be a pretty shocking reversal, and I personally would be disappointed by the turn. Because look, for as much flack as we sometimes give Xbox, the Series X is a solid piece of hardware, and we like having Xbox in the hardware business. They make good stuff. From them putting more of their first-party games on other consoles, other platforms, and the whole this is an Xbox thing, with Xbox showing up on smart TVs and smart fridges and wherever the hell you want to play Xbox games, I think we're definitely going to be talking about them in 2025 a lot more, but I don't expect them to bail on hardware altogether. Now, at number 1, some news we would not want in 2025 is somebody trying to sell games for $80 to $100 US. There's this recent article breakdown by analyst Matthew Ball, and he said that there are those that hope in the video game industry that Grand Theft Auto 6 will cost between $80 to $100. The idea being that a price hike on GTA 6 would make consumers more accepting of price increases across the board. He seems to think that because people begrudgingly accepted the $70 price bump in 2020, that we'll do it again just 5 years later. And honestly, for GTA 6, he's probably right. People probably would pay $80 for the standard version of that game. We'd all hate it, but I think a lot of people would do it. They've waited so long for this game. It's been 10 years. But there's no way in hell I think anybody else would try it. I don't think it would ever fly with other publishers. At least they wouldn't if they were smart. This is the video game industry, and doing dumb things for no reason is kind of what industry executives and stuff do. It's sort of the thing. So it's possible that someone, maybe even Rockstar, will try to launch a game for $80 or $90 or even $100. Not like for the special edition version of the game, just flat, just a base game. That then would set a precedent, set a trend, and that would be really crappy for obvious reasons. Look, you can argue that game prices have stayed the same and the actual cost of making those games has gone up exponentially, but there are market forces at work outside of just numbers. Obviously, games have gotten bigger, games have gotten more ambitious, but also there's reports of lots of mismanagement, with industry reporters like Jason Schreier pointing that to be a big part of the blame of rising costs. So do we think that game prices are going to jump in 2025? No, but you can never discount the gaming industry to shoot itself in the foot sometimes. It's happened before, and unlikely as it is, and it's extremely unlikely, it could happen again. But that was 10 video game announcements or news bits that we don't want to see in 2025. Let us know what you think about this stuff. There's a lot of bad news here today. I know it's a bit of a bummer video, but we're hoping that everything is bright and shiny and all rainbows in 2025 in the gaming world. Let's talk about this stuff. If you like this video, clicking the like button helps us out. We put out videos every single day, so we'll see you tomorrow. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.